Now we will see the CMOS implementation of SR flip-flop. So this is the table of SR flip-flop if both the inputs are 0, 0. We will say this will be the hold state, means next state will be same as the previous state. For 0, 1 combination, S stands for set while R stands for reset. We will say if set input is 1, the normal output means Q. This will be 1. For 1, 0 combination, when reset input is 1, we will say the normal output will be 0. And this last combination is not used. So in case of SR flip-flop, this is basically a SR latch. So we will have to ensure that these two outputs will be complementary. So whatever value we will get at this point, let's say logic 0, so we should get logic 1 at second output, that is Q bar. And if we see again, this is cross coupled connection of two NOR gates. So basically this latch is the core of any flip-flop. Here only we have just given a provision to introduce external inputs. If we will go for clocked SR flip-flop, so simply this circuit is further extended and we have used one clock pulse. So whenever clock pulse will be high, then only these inputs will be processed and output will be changed accordingly. So now we will see the CMOS implementation of SR flip-flop. So we can use the conventional way of realizing this circuit. We will write the Boolean function of these outputs and we will realize pull-up network and pull-down network. But there is an alternate way by which we can realize the SR flip-flop with the help of the concept that core structure consists of two cross-coupled inverters. So here, if we see, this is the CMOS structure of inverter. One inverter, and then this is another inverter. And output of one inverter is connected to the input of other inverter. So here if we see, this input of this inverter is connected to the output of second inverter, and the input of this one is connected to the output of first inverter. So we will say internally within this rectangular box, these are the cross coupled inverters. So now we have to search the way how to provide the input and clock. So here if we see, inputs will be processed if and only if clock is enabled, means clock is high. So here we will say input will be processed if this branch is active. So we have used input along with clock, and these are the two NMOS transistors placed in series. So if we say this phi is clock, if clock pulse is 1, then only data input S will be processed. In same way, if clock pulse phi is 1, then only R input data will be processed. So let us first assume the case clock pulse is 1 and S is equal to 0 and R is equal to 1. So if S is equal to 0 and R is equal to 1, phi is 1, we have assumed. So phi is 1 means this transistor is on, this transistor is on. But since S input is 0, this transistor will be off. So this path is disconnected. But what about this? Since this is on, this input is 1, so this path is connected. Means this transistor is on, short circuit ideally. So we will say whatever output voltage will be at this point, that assume some capacitor, this capacitor voltage will discharge up to ground potential and Q output will be 0. So moment Q output is 0, as expected for R is equal to 1, S is equal to 0, Q output should be 0. Moment this is 0, this 0 will be the input of this inverter, which will make this Q bar as 1. So this verifies the operation of SR flip-flop. In same way, if we will consider the opposite case, that is S is equal to 1, R is equal to 0. So in that particular case, again we are assuming that clock pulse is high, so these two transistors will be on. Now this is 1, this is 0, so we will say now capacitor at this particular node will find discharging path and it will discharge up to ground. So here Q bar is now 0. This implies Q will be 1. So for S is equal to 1, we will get Q is equal to 1. Now let's say both the inputs are 0. When both the inputs will be 0, so these two transistors will be off. So effectively this particular connection, these two connections will be disabled. And whatever previous output will be present at these 2 points, that will be retained by the regenerative action of this cross-coupled inverter. Now this is another simpler implementation of SR flip-flop. So it uses pass transistor logic. So we will say whenever clock will be 1, this output will be equal to the input X. So based over this logic, again we have used this cross-coupled inverter, and now inputs are given through single transistor, where the gate input, at gate input we have given the clock. Now if clock pulse is 1, let's say R is equal to 0 and S is equal to 1. So if clock pulse is 1, so we will say S input is 1, so this output Q must be 1, while Q bar will be 0. In otherwise case, let's say this input is 1 and this one is 0. So again if clock pulse is high, so these two transistors will be on and this one data will be forwarded up to this point, means Q bar will be 1 and Q will be 0. So this is simple structure which is used for setting or resetting the flip-flop. Now we will see the D flip-flop. So D is delay flip-flop. So whenever we will apply clock, whatever data will be given at the input, same data will be forwarded at the output. So whenever we will say output, means we are talking about normal output. So here this is the structure of D flip-flop. Again we have two cross-coupled inverters, but here we have used a transistor over which we have given complementary clock. This is a normal clock phi, while this is complementary clock. So first we will try to understand what is the use of this complementary clock. Suppose this clock is 0. This clock is 0. In that particular case, this loop will be open. Transistor will be off, loop will be open. Loop will be open means there will be no regenerative process of the cross-coupled inverter. So at that particular time, we will input the data. And the node capacitances at this point, this point, this point will charge according to the given input. But when clock will be high, so this loop will be established. Loop will be established, clock is high means at that time this clock will be 0 and this transistor will be off. So clock is 0 here, no data input, but loop is established, so regenerative process will be there and output at these 2 points will be maintained at their previous value, whatever logic these 2 points will have. So here let us see the operation. So this is the characteristic equation of D flip-flop. When our clock pulse will be 1, next state will be equal to the D input. When our clock pulse will be 0, the flip-flop will retain its previous value. So let's say first case, if clock pulse is 1, then what will happen? So this is 1, obviously this will be 0. So this is 1 means this transistor is on, this path is open means loop is broken. So we will say D input will directly come at this point, or we will say the node capacitances will be charged as per the D input. So this node voltage will be if D, so let's say this will be D bar and again this will be D. So whenever clock pulse will be 1, it will be used to input the data. Now in second case, clock pulse is now 0. So this will change to 0, this will change to 1, now loop is closed. So if clock pulse is 0, so the previous data value should be retained. So here if we see the moment clock will be 0, now this transistor will be open, off condition. Means no new data will be entered. And now since loop is closed, so regenerative process of this cross-coupled inverter will ensure that the node voltage at this point will be equal to the previous data value, that is T, at this point D bar, at this point D. So here in this case we have simply assumed a single clock, but in practical case we will consider these two as a different clock, and these two clocks will be non-overlapping. So why we are using non-overlapping clock means both the clocks will not be simultaneously 1. So let us see what will be the disadvantage if both the clocks will be 1 simultaneously. So let's say this clock is 1 and this is also 1. So if this clock is 1, this will try to input new data at this particular point. While since this clock is also 1 and loop is closed, so this particular cross-coupled inverter will try to retain its previous data. So there will be chances of error. So just to avoid this, we will try to have non-overlapping clocks. And the root problem for this is data will be processed over the label of clock. Means if clock is 1, then data will be entered. So for removing this problem, we will use master slave flip-flop, which is edge-triggered flip-flop. Means data will be processed at the edge of clock, not at the label of clock. So here we have used master slave flip-flop, which is nothing but edge-triggered flip-flop. So in this particular case, we have used two flip-flops, two D flip-flops. One is master flip-flop, this particular first part, this is master flip-flop. Then another is slave flip-flop. So let's say, we will take first case. Let's say clock phi 1 is 0 and phi 2 clock is 1. If clock phi 1 is 0, so this will be 0, this will be 0, this will be 1, and this will be 1. Better we take a reverse case. Starting from this, first we will input the data. It is 1, it is 1, it is 0, it is 0. So first we will input the data. So this clock is 1, so this transistor is on. Node capacitances will charge according to the data value D, whichever logic it will have, logic 0 or 1. But at this particular time, loop is open, so there is no conflict. Easily all these node voltages will be charged as per the data. So at this point we will have D, D bar, D. And what is the condition of this loop? So here this is logic 1, so this loop is closed, but this is 0, means this data input D will be present at this point. This will not be processed, it will not move up to this point. So we will say at this particular time, because loop is closed, so the regenerative process will try to ensure that the output will be at previous output value. Now we will take the case of clock switching. Now clock will change, means this second case. It is 0 now, it is 1 now, it is 1 now, it is 0. So moment it will be 0, no new data will be entered. This transistor is off. It is 1, so this loop is closed. Now these previous inputs will be retained at the different node voltages, at the different nodes. And now this input, since transistor is now on, this input will charge different node capacitances. Note that loop is open at this particular point. So different nodes will charge according to the data available, data bit available, data either 1 or 0. So now if we see in totality, at which point data is processed from master to slave. So when clock phi 1 is moving from 1 to 0, this data D will move from this point to this point. So we will say from 1 to 0. This is the clock from 1 to 0. So data will move from input side to the final output, that is slab output, when clock is moving from 1 to 0. So we will say this is negative edge triggered flip-flop. So by using two similar flip-flops in this way, one is master, one is slave, we can realize both are in fact label sensitive flip-flops, but overall result, overall outcome is a edge sensitive flip-flop. Okay, thank you. In next class we will see the timer.